Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? Thanks for tuning in to another Toddy Walnuts video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some of my horror figures. These are some, not all. I'm going to try to make this video not too long. I have a lot of Walking Dead figures, some Jason, Freddy, stuff like that. So let's get into this. Okay, so the majority of my collection is Walking Dead figures because they came out with so many different Walking Dead figures they had different series. And I haven't picked any up lately, but I do have quite a few of them. And these are in no particular order. And these are both the comic book series and the AMC regular TV show series. The first one here is Michonne from the comic book line. And this is from Series 1. The next one is also from the comic book. This is Abraham Ford. This was one of my favorite characters from the TV series. This was Herschel Green. The next one is Andrea. And we have the comic book Rick Grimes, who was bitten in the comic, and they had to amputate his arm, or his hand rather. And so far the TV show deviated from the comic, but you don't know eventually where it's going to end up. Here is the TV series Abraham Ford. And we have the governor with a separate head where he got stabbed in the eye. It's really hard to show these without the glare, so I'm trying to do the best I can here with that. Here is Carol. This is from Series 6. And here are the favorites. Everybody seems to love the zombies. This is a comic book version of a punk rock zombie from Series 3. Complete with a mohawk and a guitar, a broken guitar. Another zombie is the bungee walker with all of his guts pulled out. Series 6. Here is another governor. This is from Series 4. This was a cool one. This is a riot gear zombie with the tearaway gas mask. And you can see that his face is torn off. And if you look, it's hard to tell on the camera here that I'm using on my phone, but his face is peeled off on the inside of the gas mask. That's really good detail there. That was from Series 4. One of my least favorite characters, but one of the coolest additions, is the Shane Walsh. And his arms raised to take aim like he's aiming the shotgun that he has in his hands from Series 2. Here's another Series 2. This is the RV zombie with the screwdriver jammed into his eye socket. And there was also a DVD set that had the bust of the head. And you put the screwdriver in his eye socket and his head goes back and you can reveal the DVDs or Blu-rays for the set. Next one here is the bicycle girl zombie with crawling action. There's a little plate that she's laying on, and it actually allows you to move the figure forward to look like she's crawling. Thought that was pretty cool. From Series 2. And that was actually from Season 1, I believe. Here is the comic book version of the Governor, which looks completely different. Here's a big fan favorite, Maggie Green. She was hooked up with Glenn, and of course she's the daughter of Herschel. Here's one of my favorites. This is the Charred Zombie. I believe this was from Season 4. It comes with a gas can and he's crispy. This was from Series 5. The next one is Rick Grimes with the blood splatter and all of his arsenal. This is a really cool addition. Comes with 5 different guns and a hatchet and like a backpack. And of course he's blood soaked, blood splattered all over. That is the comic book version of Rick Grimes. Next one was another fan favorite. I really enjoyed Tyrese as a character. That was from Series 5. Here is Rick Grimes with hat, prison keys, and a medical bag, and a little dagger. From Series 4. Here's another really cool addition. This is Merle as a zombie. And check out that likeness. That looks really cool. That's one of my favorite characters. Or one of my favorite figures, I should say. They really did a good job with that figure. Here is a different Riot Gear zombie with the knife wedged into his neck under his jaw. That is from Series 4. The next one is the well zombie, and this comes apart at the waist. And if you remember in the, was it Season 2 or Season 3, I don't remember, but there was this big zombie was in the well, and they tried to pull him out, and he split in half. And his guts poured out into the, and it contaminated the well water, so they couldn't use it. And here's a really cool one. This is Deputy Rick Grimes. Really good detail. You can see the blood and the mud on his shirt. 5 o'clock shadow on his face. Really, really nice. Here's another Andrea from Series 4. She was kind of the eye candy. I always thought she was a little bit more sexier than Maggie, in my opinion. She was hot. She was trying to get it on with the governor. Or she was getting it on with the governor. This one here was a hot commodity. This was a two character set with Daryl and Merle Dixon. This one sold out pretty quick. And that is when they reunited after Merle was chained up to the rooftop. He had to cut his hand off, and then he fashioned a weapon. So this was later in the season when they re-teamed up. And Merle ended up being no good, and Daryl stayed true to the good side. Next one here is Glenn. He was another fan favorite. It hasn't really been the same since he's no longer on the show, but he was a really good character. You could see that he has a 5 o'clock shadow, and then there's also a second head where he was beat up by the governor when he had him tied to the chair, and then he unleashed the walkers and he ended up getting out. The next one here is just a little vinyl bust of one of Michonne's walkers, and just to kind of show you guys a size comparison, here's the standard figure of Glenn, and put it next to the bust. It's quite a bit bigger. And I have another bust here. This one is a bank. I don't know if the other one's a bank either. Yeah, it is. That the first one I showed you was a bank, and this one is also a bank. There's must be a little coin slot on the back of his head or something, but this is just a walker missing an arm. And then we have a comic book bust version of Rick, and he's missing his hand in this edition here. And they have a lot of Ricks. Here is another one. This is from Series 6. Looks like he's been through hell and back, and he has. He's got several different weapons here. And some chains and a machete. Here is Penny Blake, who was the governor's daughter, and she was bitten, and she turned, and the governor was keeping her chained up in a box because he did not want to let her go, but she was already gone. And he was feeding her people to keep her alive. So you see she's got a little bloody bucket, some body parts, legs, hands, feet, heads, heart. And Michonne ended up killing Penny, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. And here is a character from the comic book. I don't think this guy ended up... I think this is supposed to be the Daryl of the comic book series. This is Dwight, because he's got the crossbow and looks like a AK-47 and a little handgun there at the bottom. And then we have this was a rare one too. This is the Michonne with Zombie Pets Bloody 3-pack. This is the bloody edition of it. There was also a 3-pack that did not have blood all over it, but you can see these are blood soaked. Her 2 walkers that she cuts the jaws off and the arms so they can't harm her, and then they let her travel safely through the hordes of zombies. And then you can see Michonne's soaked in blood, and her katana is just drenched in blood. You can see body parts. You can see the 2 jaws and the 4 arms that she cut off. And then the last one for this box, and I'm going to pause it and put these away and open up another box for you guys. This is the Daryl Dixon with his chopper and crossbow box set. So I thought that was a really cool addition, and that one sold out pretty quick as well. So that one is from Series 5. So let me pause it here, guys. I'm going to put these away, and then we'll crack open the second box. Continuing on, we have another Michonne. This was a huge bust. This was really cool. Michonne is easily one of my favorite characters in the show. She's really badass, and I really love this bust. And this is, or not bust, but this huge figure. It's a deluxe action figure, and just to show a size comparison, here is a standard figure. So it's much bigger, and that's a really cool edition of Michonne. And I told you guys this was very heavy Walking Dead, so hopefully I'll get to some of the other ones soon. Here is the Series 8 deluxe box set, and this is Morgan with Impaled Walker. And you can see that he fashioned a trap, and he was really good at making traps and surviving. He was a really good survivalist, and he was a character that was early on in the show, and then he disappeared for a couple seasons, and then they reunited. Here is a pincushion zombie. that they found that had all these different knives and weapons impaled into his body, his legs, his torso, his neck, his arms. And they have all the weapons here that you can recreate, and the holes in the body where you can place the weapons. Next one here was Bob, and he had some pretty sweet vengeance in his death. I thought he was a good character. I really liked Bob. He ended up getting bitten and becoming infected, and then he was abducted by a tribe of cannibals, and they didn't know that he was infected, and they kidnapped him, knocked him out. When he came to, they were eating his leg. They cut his leg off and they were roasting his leg and eating it, and so he had the last laugh before he died. He got to tell them that he was infected. The next one here was the voice of reason, Dale, with the binoculars and the hat, and of course he drove the RV. Easily one of the best characters, and it took till season 8 before, or series 8, before they finally got him a character. And he was a great character in the show. Loved Dale. The next one here is Gareth, and he was very short-lived in the series. I believe he was only in maybe half a season or less. And the next one here is the Woodbury Assault Rick Grimes from Series 7. And they really cashed in on the different Ricks from the series. Here is the Cell Block Flu Walker, when they took over the prison, and that's where they were living. And as they were flushing out the remaining walkers or zombies, they found some that were infected, and it in turn infected some of their people, so they had to vacate the prison. That and the governor was on their tails too. But here is a mud walker from Series 7. This was the walker that was along the river, and it was encapsulated in a landslide, or like a muddy bog part of the river, and he came crawling out of the mud as they were investigating the area. It was a cool scene. Here is the comic book version of Carl Grimes, and you can see they have 3 heads in this one. One where his eye was ripped out, one with a regular head, and then one with a bloody patch over where his eye was ripped out. And they deviated from the comic book to the AMC series, where Carl did not get his eye ripped out, obviously. At least not yet. And here is Michonne, standalone character. She has a little container of Cheese Whiz up here, and that was a kind of an inside joke between her and Carl as they were traveling on foot across the railroad tracks. They were talking about eating cheese and crackers. And then there's her katana and her holster, and then there's a candlestick. And we have a Morgan standalone figure with his gas mask, his assault rifle, and then his staff that he uses. He's a badass with that staff. And that is it for the Walking Dead characters for now, because the next one here is A Nightmare on Elm Street. This was a Toys R Us exclusive with the cloth clothes from NECA. And this was a character that was from the video game that was put out, because it has the bright orange clothes, and that's how he looked in the video game. The next one is Predator. And this one is the comic book edition of Predator from Dark Horse. And it looks really cool. My camera phone does not really bring out the full detail, but you can see that it has its staff, and that those colors are really vibrant, and it's a really, really nice figure. This one sold out pretty quick I bought this at Toys R Us probably a couple years by now, a couple years ago. And then I have the Godzilla Monster of Monsters NECA toy from Toho Company. This is the video game version of Godzilla, and I love that edition. That is so nice. There's what the 8-bit game looked like, and then you can see at the top they have his life bar, his power and life, and your points and level. It has a hinged jaw, articulated tail. Really cool edition. And then I have a Predator 2. From one of the video games. Level 7, the alien ship. Rescue 25 hostages. And I'm a sucker for any of these figures that were game related. I had to go and grab these right away. And if I couldn't get them in the store, I ordered them online right away. So that is the end of box 2. I'm going to pause it again, and I think I have one more box today to show you guys. I'm starting to think that I don't have my Freddy or the rest of my Freddy or my Jason figures here, because I do have quite a few of those. Okay, let's get into the third and final tote for this video. This will not be all of my figures, but here is the video game edition of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. This is the NECA. Comes with the purple clothes and the light blue hockey mask, as they had in the game. And you can see that's what the figure looks like without the mask. And it's a fun little addition. This one sold out really fast. It was hard to get that one. And then here is the full-size mask of that same edition that I just showed you. This is from the Nintendo video game with the light blue mask. Heavy duty from NECA. And then here is a weathered replica mask from Friday the 13th. It's made to look like it's been through hell and back. Weathered and beaten up. And I'm running low on battery, so I'm going to have to hurry here. There's another mask. This is from the final chapter. There is a Frank and Weenie box set, black and white figures from the Tim Burton movie. Here are some Hobbit figures from the Peter Jackson adaptation of the film. This is the deluxe collector's edition. 5 of the characters that went in search for the ring. And here is Bilbo and Gollum. Love that movie. Love the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit series. Here is Bolg and Gandalf. And here is the Goblin King and Thorin. Oops, let me see if I can get that glare off of there. You can see that it's a very heavy set. You can see how big the Goblin King is compared to Thorin, and it's very heavy and solid. Here's another Frank and Weenie box set. These are the little monsters. Black and white figures. And I think the last one for this video is going to be the Predator Jungle Hunter on the left and City Hunter on the right. I'll have to show my Jason figures in another video. But that is it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave any comments or questions down below. Hope you guys are well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.